Hello then, thank you for joining us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Nwachuku and this is the World News at 12. Here are the top stories. We'll start from stories outside the shores of Nigeria. Democrats anxious as Trump gains ground in tight race. While back home in Nigeria, former President Obasanjo reveals sponsors of third-term ambition. Atiku's aide reveals why Tinubu appointed Bianca Ojukwu. Criminals dare Soludo take crime to governor's doorstep. Nigeria's presidential aircraft suffers damage in United States. Shetima's trip to Samoa aborted. Details now. We'll begin from the foreign front, where 2 months ago, Kamala Harris was crowned as the Democratic presidential nominee at a jubilant national convention in Chicago. For thousands of party faithful, she was the electoral savior, replacing an 81-year-old incumbent who seemed incapable of defeating Donald Trump and winning another term. But even then, senior party strategists disclosed that there are worried Democrats who are overconfident about her path to victory. Now, as election day dooms and anxieties grow, it seems their concerns are well-founded. There is no doubt that Harris enjoyed a surge of momentum and an instant and significant boost in the polls compared to President Joe Biden, who was lagging far behind Trump. Yet it appears she was winning back those who normally vote Democratic anyway, but who had worried about Biden and his age. For victory, Harris needs to attract voters from beyond the Democrats' base while holding together the fragile coalition that helped Biden win in 2020. The latest polls, however, show a race that has tightened in recent weeks and is now essentially a tie. While back home in Nigeria, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has addressed the controversy surrounding his purported ambition for a third term while in government. VP News gathered that there have been claims that Obasanjo was nursing a third term as president, and the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar also admitted to stopping the agenda. While in an interview recently with Kaide Akintemi via a Monitor television program on Thursday, Obasanjo said he would have gotten a third term if he had pushed for it, but did not want it. He attributed the report of nursing a third term to some governors who were secretly working towards extending their terms in office. According to him, the governors believed that if he, Obasanjo, secured a third term, they would also benefit from an extended tenure. Obasanjo noted that getting debt relief for the country was much more complicated than getting a third term, adding that his government could get debt relief for Nigeria when he was in office. He said, and I quote, "If I had wanted a third term, I would have gotten it. I didn't want a third term. I know some governors working for this, believing that if I, as president, got a third, they would also get it." The former president has attributed Nigeria's current challenges to a global leadership deficit, particularly evident in Africa and most notably within Nigeria. He criticized an unnamed Nigerian president for assuming office without a clear plan, describing a situation where policies are announced without thorough study or preparation, reflecting what he sees as a shortfall in leadership quality. In another development, the special assistant to former People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar on digital media strategy, Demola Olarewaju, has slammed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for appointing Bianca Ojukwu as Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. You will recall that in a major cabinet reshuffle on Wednesday, President Tinubu appointed Ambassador Bianca alongside 6 others as new ministers subject to confirmation by the Senate. The ministerial nominees are Dr. Nentewa Yilwada, Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Muhammad Udingyadi, Labor and Employment, Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, State Foreign Affairs, and Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, Industry, Trade and Investment. Others are Idi Mukhtar Meha, Livestock Development, Yusuf Atta, State Housing and Urban Development, and Dr. Suwaiba Ahmed, State Education. Many have interpreted the appointment of the late Biafra leader's widow as a strategy by Tinubu to increase his support in the southeast. Reacting, however, via his ex-handle, Olarawaju warned that Bianca won't help Tinubu get votes from the southeast in 2027 because she has zero electoral value. He stated that not one voter in the southeast region will switch back to Tinubu because of Bianca's appointment. According to him, the appointment of Bianca is only a ploy for the All Progressives Congress to rig the 2027 elections. The statement partly reads, "Understand, first of all, that Tinubu is nothing if not political. Everything he does is about power. If he opposes subsidy in 2012, it is power. If he opposes it in 2024, it is for power. He can say Yoruba Ronu to woo Yoruba ethnocentrist, but can also say one Nigeria when necessary. I am not sure that man has had even one genuine friendship in the past 3 decades unless there is some political leverage or advantage to be gained. Bianca is a nobody in the political configuration of the Southeast. But remember, APC currently has governors in 2 states of the Southeast, all 3 senators from Ebonyi, 2 from Imo, and 1 from Abia, where Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu is from, and where Bola Tinubu University of Nigerian Languages may soon be cited. And still on the world news, we also have recently that the presidential candidate recently speaking, that is the vice president of Nigeria, Shetima, has actually aborted his trip to Samoa. The foreign object damaged the cockpit's windscreen of the plane, and this was disclosed by the presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga in a statement recently. He disclosed that it was quite a heightened situation, and the summit had been cancelled after the object hit his plane during a stopover at JFK Airport, New York. The foreign object damaged the cockpit's windscreen of the plane while the vice president was in the plane. He stated, and I quote, "President Tinubu, acting promptly, has approved a ministerial delegation to represent Nigeria at the summit in Samoa, capital of Apia, while the plane's repair has commenced. The delegation will now represent Nigeria at the 2024 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa, which is being led by the Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas Lawal. The summit, which began on the Pacific Island on October 21, will end on October 26. Mr. Shetima and Foreign Minister Yusuf Toga have left New York for Nigeria." Meanwhile, in Anambra State, there is a rising wave of insecurity there, which has reached a critical point, with criminals now brazenly operating within Awka, the state capital. Recent events within Awka and its environs suggest that hoodlums have brought their activities to the state governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo's doorstep. With multiple incidents in the past 1 week, residents are now questioning the effectiveness of Governor Soludo's security measures. Violence has recently spiked in the state capital over 4 days from Sunday to Thursday. No fewer than 25 lives have been lost. In Awka, reports of robbers and kidnappers operating in the student-dominated Ifite Awka area have become steady. Recently, a communal clash between Enugu Ukwu and Nofia communities left several people dead. The latest incident was a brazen killing of about 16 people in Nibo, a town close to the governor's residence in Amabia. The ugly development have forced many to view the Soludo-led government as helpless in handling these killings, which have led to inaction. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into a news analysis segment, and I have right here in the studio Mr. Peter Anosike, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. This is still the World News right here on Voice of the People 92.3 FM. Mr. Peter Anosike, good afternoon. Welcome to the World News at 12.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, thank God it's Friday, right? But we also have issues to discuss. Let's start off with former President Olusegun Obasanjo disclosing that if he wanted to rule for the third time, he would have, because there were certain elements within the polity, that is at the higher up echelon, who actually wanted him to actually go for the third term. If not for the strong opposition of his vice then, which was Atiku Abubakar, that if he pushed for that, he would have gotten it, because others wanted a situation that when it was their own turn, they would go for a third term. What would you say to that?
Well, Obasanjo is a very powerful person.
Okay.
Obasanjo won the Civil War. At least he won the Civil War. He was that's a military head of state and also civilian president.
All right.
So he is a very powerful man. And I remember in 1998, when at the dawn of democracy, Babangida told some people that to go to Obasanjo and tell him that come and contest. That was after Ekweme and others had formed the PDP.
Okay.
Then Obasanjo was in prison. The question that Obasanjo asked them was, how many presidents do you want to make out of me?
Okay.
Understand me? So that he has been a head of state before.
All right.
So on the issue of third term, I am aware that some people sold that thing to him.
Okay.
Some people sold the issue of third term to Olusegun Obasanjo then. I want to tell you of a personal experience.
Okay.
One day, Olufemi Adowo, myself, and the former vice chancellor of University of Bell University,
Okay.
we were at Ota, that's in Obasanjo's house.
Okay.
And I witnessed what was going on then. So some people were telling Obasanjo that he entered with a military constitution. Understand me? That 1999 to 2003 was a military constitution. Therefore, that tenure is not right.
Okay.
That 2003 to 2007 was his first term.
Okay.
That he can still go for second term. Understand me? I was there. Obasanjo was there. Femi Adowo was there. The vice chancellor of Bell University then was also there. So Obasanjo was surprised. Obasanjo said, okay, that they should ask Afe and Babangida if what they are talking is possible. This is a practical, a personal experience. I was there. Understand me?
So you're saying that on Obasanjo's own term, he did not decide to take it upon himself to say, okay, you know what, I'm going for a third term. There were elements who actually wanted it and they pushed him into it.
People sold it to him.
So if that was the case, this persons who sold it to him, why didn't they make it succeed? Because according to him, he said if he wanted it, he would have really pushed for it and he would have gotten it, because there were others who wanted that when it got to their turn, they would also enjoy the benefit of a third term.
Obasanjo then had the case file of every political leader in the country. And
okay.
Nuhu Rebadu was the chairman of EFCC then.
Okay.
And he was attacking every of Obasanjo's enemies.
All right.
So I believe if Obasanjo was really serious about it, he would have used EFCC to round up all those who wanted to oppose it.
Okay.
Understand me?
All right.
So, as I said, it was sold to him, and I was there when they were telling him. It was even a surprise that he came in through a military constitution. Right. Therefore, 2003 and 2007 was his first term.
Okay.
Obasanjo said, if he's that, let them come the that to check if what they are saying is true.
Okay.
So it was at that point in time that we left out and returned back. So I don't know what was said
afterwards.
All
right, that's an interesting one, because obviously a lot of persons wanted to know precisely what was the drive behind the third term agenda. It really was a rabble rouser at the time, and it caused that razzmatazz across all the polity across the world, actually, because a couple of persons felt it was selfish. Some persons actually wanted it because they were impressed with some things that were done during his administration. You recall that was when the EFCC came on board, and they were really going all out against some politicians, which a couple of Nigerians at the time commended, because it was something that had never been experienced in this part of the world by a democratic leader. Now let's look at this situation with Simon Ekpa led Biafra government. Well, he has issued a fresh ultimatum to the Nigerian government demanding the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu and other southeasterners being held across the country. Now, this report was actually gotten in Daily Post. So Nnamdi Kanu, of course, obviously has remained behind bars since he was repatriated from Kenya, and this situation has worsened the tension in the southeast. And I'm sure you recall that in the week, the entire southeast was under a total lockdown for 2 days, owing to a sit-at-home order declared via a viral video, which was disclaimed by both Ekpa and IPOB leadership. While speaking in a statement through his X handle just on Thursday, Ekpa called for the immediate release of all the people from the zone who are being held in various facilities, and he also asked judges of southeast origin 7 in other parts of the country to return home. According to him, the ultimatum, which is expected to last till October 27, 2024, was a decision after a meeting held on Thursday, and that the Nigerian judicial system had contributed to the insecurity in the region by installing anti-people governors. He threatened a lockdown on all federal courts in the southeast from October 29, 2024, if the demands are not met. What say you to this?
Well, Simon Ekpa, or whatever is his name, is not fighting for Nnamdi Kanu. Rather, he is making the case of Nnamdi Kanu worse. Simon Ekpa is not fighting for the people of the southeast. Simon Ekpa is a terrorist.
A couple of persons will dispute what you're saying.
I don't care. I'm telling you, Simon Ekpa is a terrorist and must be seen as such.
A couple of persons would say that if not for his intervention or the role he has played, that the Southeast literally have been wiped out by the military presence in there. But that due to his effort or due to his intervention in securing the area, that the Southeast somehow sort of has been able to remain a little bit safe.
So Simon Ekpa is the one securing southeast.
That's what a couple of his followers believe.
Simon Ekpa is behind the insecurity in the southeast. Simon Ekpa is using some criminals in the southeast to commit havoc. Understand me? So Simon Ekpa is not fighting for the good of the Igbos or for Nnamdi Kanu. He is a terrorist and should be treated as such. And for me, I wonder why Nigeria government has not made effort to bring him back here, because I knew what is this woman from Ikorodu? What is her name?
Woman from Ikorodu?
Yes, the diaspora whatever.
In Ikorodu?
She's from Ikorodu.
Oh, really? Are you talking about Abike?
Abike from Ikorodu.
Mr. Nosike, you could have just referred to her, Minister of Nigerians in Diaspora. What was the essence of that? You could have. She's a minister. Oh God, Mr. Nosike, please kindly continue. You didn't need to be derogatory. All right.
She's from Ikorodu.
But what I'm trying to say is that you needed to address her from that aspect. Anyway, Ikorodu is a big place now. It's a very rich area in Lagos, so you can't derogate it.
If you say that Peter Nosike is from Omwa here, I won't feel insulted.
Oh well, you didn't have to start with that. You could have just said the Minister of Nigerians in Diaspora, and that's Abike Dabiriwa.
So remember what she did when a woman tweeted about poisoning Edo people.
That's Nkechi.
Do you remember what she did?
She went all out.
She went wild on that, but she has remained silent on Simon Ekpa.
Well, she will tell you that it's not within her jurisdiction. She will tell you something that the security operatives ought to deal with.
So the woman own is within her own jurisdiction. Nkechi is living in Canada, which is diaspora. Simon Ekpa is in Finland, diaspora. So why was she raising an arm over the woman and now being silenced on Ekpa? This shows you state conspiracy. Some people are happy with insecurity in the southeast.
But you recall that the Chief of Defense Staff has said on several occasions, pleading with the Finnish government, that they should see how they could come to an understanding for him to be brought back here, so that you can go through some questioning. But
how many months ago? How many months ago? Why didn't Buhari government plead with the Kenyan government to see how they will use diplomatic means and bring Nnamdi Kanu? So, or you are seeing different standards.
But do we have any repatriation law or whatever with the Finnish government? Because that could be also one of the impediments. They have written on several occasions.
Finland is a member of the United Nations. Finland is not Cyprus. It's not Turkey. Understand me? So, but what I'm saying in effect is Simon Ekpa is not fighting for Nnamdi Kanu. Rather, he is making the case of Nnamdi Kanu worse.
Okay, so with this ultimatum he gave now, what
nonsense.
Does that mean? Because he made it seem like if they don't do something, maybe we waited for so long, if the courts cannot come to a conclusion on Nnamdi Kanu's matter, then it's almost like, let's take matters into our own hands. So if within this stipulated period he has given, what will be the next line of action? What would happen? Because it's threatening that most of the judicial offices or residences there will be shut down. Would that not bring more attention, more heat from the Nigerian military forces in the southeast? Because already people are complaining that the southeast is no longer comfortable or safe. It feels so militarized. I remember Kanayo complained the other time there's so many military checkpoints in the southeast, and he was asking, is there a war that we are seeing such presence of security in that region? So the question is, in this within the stipulated period he gave, if the Nigerian government does not do what he had stipulated, then what happens?
Well, it should be a pity on Nigeria government. It should be shame on the part of Nigeria government if they will obey the ultimatum of a non-state actor. It should be a shame on the Nigerian government if they can shut down the courts because of one terrorist in Finland said so.
You're calling him a terrorist?
That's what he is.
Mr. Peter Anos.
That is what Simon Ekpa is. He's a terrorist.
All right. Well, let's see how that goes in that particular aspect. But again, a couple of his supporters would say that you are not being objective in your analysis concerning his activities. They may say that he has, through his means or through some measures, tried in his own way to create some developmental strides in the southeast.
Example.
I don't, like I said, a couple of his supporters will tell
that
you that
Monday and Tuesday were shut down in the southeast.
Well, he debunked. He said he
do you
never
know
gave
how
such an
many
order.
billions that was lost within that 2 days?
IPOP spokesperson Emma Powerful said he never gave such an order. Simon Ekpa also said he never gave such an order. So obviously we have criminals operating under different guises right now, beyond the control of this group, the Biafran government in exile.
And
IPOP.
that's what Simon Ekpa created, because criminal elements are now hiding under IPOP and be committing atrocities in the southeast.
So we're saying that we're going to continue to see the presence of military personalities in the southeast as long as this continues.
Well, that is the responsibility of the army to defend the country when the police is overwhelmed.
All right, let's look at Vice President Kashim Shettima having to abort his trip because a foreign object hit the presidential jet he was in. I think the thing hit the cockpit. This is not the first time we're hearing of such incidents, all right, on the Vice President's jet or plane or whatever it is they're using to transport themselves. We recall during the former Vice President tenure, that is VP Yemi Osinbajo, there were about 2 or 3 different instances where the presidential jet had issues. In some cases, it crash landed and somehow he was safe. So what does this actually stipulate with our air fleet, despite the recent procurement?
For me, it's an accident, and the accident is.
So you're not going to attach anything to it.
There's nothing strange about it.
But we thought they got some new fleets recently. So what?
He said that it fell. Something fell on it. Something fell on it.
A foreign object hit it.
Yes,
that's what happened. So you had to pull out of the Commonwealth Summit.
Sure, that's a bird can cause such a havoc.
So there is nothing to fear
for me,
in that regard.
For me, I don't attach.
So let's look at the current crime in Anambra State. It's become quite a topic of conversation and worrisome. And a couple of people feel that Chukwuma Soludo does not actually know what to do. Maybe he's out of ideas on how to handle the situation. This time around, they came close to his doorstep, close to his community. What would you say to that?
Well, the issue is this: by our constitution, the governors are helpless, because a governor cannot command a soldier without getting permission from Abuja.
Okay.
Understand me? A governor has no power over the commissioner of police in his state. The commissioner takes orders from the IG. So this shows you that we are not really practicing presidential system of government. The governors are just answering commander that's in chief verbally. But the area that I'm concerned is not just in Anambra, but in the whole of Southeast. I am shocked. I'm disappointed that a governor will issue order, a non-state actor will issue order, and the people will obey the order of the non-state actor. So this is a vote of no confidence on the governors. Understand me? This is not just Soludo, but all the governors in the Southeast. Because governors say, go out to do your business. Understand? Peter Mbo of Enugu State says so. Soludo even said that he will penalize people in Onitsha who knock down
their shops.
But after saying that, people still stayed at home.
Well, you remember that there was a time that the government of Enugu, through Peter Mba, under the leadership of Peter Mba, they actually promised the residents that they have them in mind. They will protect them. They should not be afraid of any demand by non-state actors. They should go about their activities. And when they did, these individuals came. They flogged a couple of them. I don't know if you remember that particular incident.
I saw
they
them
threw their goods away. They were beating children. They even warned them, why did they go to school?
A 6-year-old girl on the street.
So don't you think when they inflict this pain on the people for contravening their own order by listening to that of the state government, and then nothing happens, they were not caught? They did this in broad daylight. They were brazenly going to people's houses, flogging them, going to their shops, chasing them all away, throwing their goods on the floor, and no security personnel stopped them. The state government that had assured them protection did nothing. So in other instances such an order is given, who do you think they would actually obey?
Look, I want to use Enugu as an example. 82 division is in Enugu. There's an army barracks at Okundano and at Ababa.
Okay.
All in Enugu. So there's an army barracks in Abakaliki and in Nsukka.
Okay.
So which means they have enough security to guard the state. There's army barracks in Onitsha. There's in Obinze in Imo. There's in Ohofia in Abia. Understand me? So they have enough military presence to protect the states. Then why are they not doing this? That's the question. Because the people have lost confidence that's in their governors. Because the governors can no longer protect them. Understand me? Because when governors say go out, nothing will happen. We have enough security for you, and they go out and they were beaten. Understand me? They say once beaten, twice shy.
All right, Mr. Peter Onosike, thank you so much for coming right here on the World News at 12 to give us your insight and your perspective into some of the questions posed here in the World News. We sincerely do appreciate your input.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. To wrap up here again are the top stories. And of course, Democrats anxious as Trump gains ground in tight race. You also heard former President Obasanjo revealing sponsors of third-term ambition. Atiku's aide reveals why Tinubu appointed Bianca Ojukwu. Criminals Politicians dare Soludo take crime to governor's doorstep. Nigeria's presidential aircraft suffers damage in U.S. Shetima's trip to Samoa aborted. That's a wrap on the world news at 12. My name is Esther Wachuku. Good afternoon and thank you for listening. Up next is Area Mata Mutalaji. Just stay with us.